Hello and welcome to this podcast on wheat packs. I'm Patricia Hesnan. First of all, what are wheat packs? What are they used for? What are they of any benefit for? How would you make them? And why would you make them? Wheat packs are made with whole grain wheat, and also you can use rice, whichever is preferred. But wheat has a natural inbuilt ability to hold the heat for a longer period of time. You can make a wheat pack any size. You can use it in the microwave or you can freeze it. I personally have used them for years for back problems where I would have had surgery to stimulate the blood supply back into an area where there may be adhesions or lack of oxygen and blood supply going through an area that's damaged. I also found them, and many people over the years have found them, very beneficial for tennis elbow, neck pain. You can actually heat one of those up, and as you're sitting watching television, you can put it on the back of your neck where you may have neck tension, maybe from driving or sitting at a desk all day. You can also put them in the bed, and this particular one you can put it up along the spine and lie on it for the full night because they stay warm for hours on end. They're very pliable, so when you move, they move. So it's not like they're rigid and they'll stay in the one position and you can't, if they're inflexible, they're going to hurt you when you move. But these are very flexible. When you make them, you can make them to your own specific needs, and you can make them very long. I make them square. I'll be showing you how to make them. One thing that's important when you're making wheat packs is that you have a very good, strong quality of cotton, so that it could be up to 100% cotton or 80% cotton and polyester mixed. The quality of the cotton is important because otherwise it will wear out over time. With frequent use, the wheat itself will also dry up. So it's no harm to make up a few of them while you're making them, so that you have these extra few. I make up about 6 at a time, and I would give them to clients, family, people that have hurt their knee, their elbow, their back. I actually found them also very beneficial for myself when my sinuses are playing up. I'd heat one up and put a few drops of eucalyptus oil on the wheat pack, shake it up and put it on the back of my neck, and I find it really beneficial for my sinus problems when they do flare up. The hips, knees, you can lie sideways, you can put it across your hip, you can put it on top of your knee, and also for tennis elbow, you can have it up this way. You know, and it will stay there if you're lying in the bed or you're on a chair, because they're so pliable, they'll actually stay there for hours on end. Now, we'd always recommend, of course, that you seek medical attention for any injuries or health issues you may have. Wheat packs you need to be aware that when you put them into the microwave, they can get very hot. So don't place them directly onto the skin without shaking them up first. You put them into the microwave for, say, 1, maybe 2 minutes, depending on the microwave, and shake it up. If it's not hot enough, put it back in again for another minute. And you could choose an oil like lavender oil, rosemary oil, whichever is your preference. The lavender oil is good to help with sleep. Some people will put a very, very lightly warmed wheat pack beside a child that is distressed. It's comfortable and it's comforting. So it can be used hot or cold, but most people would use them hot. So Again, what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you how I make up the wheat pack. I buy this wheat grain in 5 kg bags. It's very, very economical. They're only about 10 euros for the 5 kg bag. I use old pillowcases, old cotton sheets and old cotton pillowcases. And all you need is the sewing machine, or you can hand sew them. I would recommend that you use a double layer of material, just in case the material would tear against anything, and you'll end up with a lot of wheat grain in the bed, okay, or in your microwave. So it's important that if you're hand sewing them, that you backstitch, that there is no little holes where the wheat can escape, because when the heat is applied to the wheat, it will shrink eventually. So they're brilliant. So I'm going to go on to demonstrate how to make one of these wheat packs yourself. So again, you get out your material, you get your bag of wheat grain. Now, I'd say to you, when you are pouring the wheat grain into this pack, I will show you, you need to be careful that you have a jug underneath this pack, or else if this slips, you'll have a lot of wheat grain all over the floor, and it's not such a good idea. So we will go on now to show you how I cut a pillowcase into sections, and I will make 2, 3, maybe 4 wheat packs out of this one pillowcase. Now, before we begin, here I have an old pillowcase. I'm going to, it's double material, so I'm going to fold it over like that, and I intend to make a wheat pack like the one I showed you when I started. I'm going to cut this right down to the far end. Doesn't matter if you go a bit crooked, it won't make one bit of difference. Then I'm going to get this, hold that, I'm going to make a flat one out of that eventually. So I'll put that over there to one side. So now I get this piece of material, and I'm going to sew it across the end. If I could find the foot of the machine. And okay. Across the end. And then up the side. I could go a little bit further now, it'll make it a little bit wider. Okay, up the side. Okay. What I'm going to do, and it's only for the look of it, I'm going to turn this inside out. So if you were giving it to somebody, you turn it inside out, that the rough edges were on the inside, but I'm not going to bother. I'm going to show you what you do next. You get your big bag of wheat grain, okay, you cut the corner. Be careful that you don't cut a massive big hole in it, because otherwise it's going to scatter all over the place. You pour just enough to fill this packet. Okay. Now, this should be sufficient to fill this, and maybe with a little bit left over. Okay, so it's going to go from here into here. This is the biggest one. I'm going to sit this in here. That's the top of it. Okay, and I'm going to put this into a smaller jug. See, because this, if it overflows, it's going to be in the bottom of this one. And I'm going to pour this in here. As you can see, it's quite easy. Now, I don't want to fill this up too full because it'll be too difficult to warm it up. So I'll show you now at a certain point, there's enough in it. But when you're making a lot of these, you'll be able to measure the amount of wheat into the jug, so you won't have to keep checking it. So if you're making about 6 the same, you'll be able to do the same measurements of the material with the same amount of wheat pack. Now, what we don't want, see this here now, we don't want gaps where there's no wheat. And this one's a little bit too flat. And we don't want the wheat too bulky. So what we need is about another few ounces of the wheat grain. And we can, that little vacant spot will be filled with this. Now, get this. See how that is? See how that looks? Look. That's a nice bulky wheat pack. Now, you're going to sew this on a sewing machine. So make sure you tilt every bit of it to that end before you start to sew. And because it's down that end, you just pop it in there. And always back sew this, because otherwise if it rips, the wheat will pop out. Okay. Now, for safety's sake, I went up that way once, that way. Most times I would go twice across, twice down here, and I would do 2 rows of sewing there when I was finished. So now you've got your wheat pack. All you have to do, pop it into the microwave, 1 minute or 2 minutes, take it out, shake it, and I noticed this particular material is a little bit thin, but I will get a few uses out of it. Get a good thick cotton if you can. An old cotton tablecloth actually is great because there's really strong material in it. And I'll pop that into the microwave. When it's warm, I'll take it out and I'll get my oils and I'll sprinkle, where we see, we have a nice one here, lemongrass. Okay, when it's hot, sprinkle the lemongrass over it and shake it. Shake it up again. You can actually smell it now, even though it's cold. Shake it. But what I would say to you, don't lie on the part that you've shaken the lemongrass initially, or well, you can lie on it if you have night clothes on you or ordinary clothes. But if you put it, the lemongrass on it, and you put it directly on your skin, some people can be a little bit sensitive to some oils. So lavender, eucalyptus, whatever oil is your preference. Now, I've often used, when I had back surgery a few years ago, and when I would be travelling a long distance in the car as a passenger mainly, I would heat up one of those before I would leave the house, sprinkle my few drops of oil on it and put it at my lower back for the full duration of the journey. And the heat would generally stay in it for hours. But what you can do also, you see, I would make up, now here's a different idea. You could make up a square pack that would sit at the, say, the sacroiliac joint, say at the bottom. And you'd have that right at the coccyx and across your sacroiliac joint. You can make that shape if you want. So you can make any shape. That would be, I have a few of those that I use, we'll say, up for the thoracic area. This one I use directly up along the spine, the whole way up along my spine at night. And again, I could have another one here like this on my knee. my ankle. Again, when you're making them up, you get your wheat grain, or rice if you prefer, but the wheat seems to have more longevity for holding the heat. And when you can, where somebody's got an injury, if you can stimulate the blood supply and the oxygen back into the area, the recovery time, it's improved. There's less recovery time because there's oxygen, blood supply going back into the area. And again, you can make these up and give them to family, friends. Somebody's visiting, they've neck ache, they're staying overnight with you, they've lower back pain after travelling. Heat up one of those and put them into the bed, and you won't be able to get rid of the visitors. They're so good. So good luck with that, and if you have any queries, feel free to contact us. But that is as simple as it is in how to make wheat packs. Thank you.